Hello and welcome. Today's cryptid I'm going to go over is Sinkhole Sam. It is becoming more and more forgotten, but I want to revive Sinkhole Sam. So let's get into it. This particular cryptid is from the heart of Kansas. Now, where the prairies stretch as far as the eye can see, there lurks a tale that has captured the imagination of locals and visitors alike for generations. It's a story that blends the murky waters of a sinkhole with even murkier realms of folklore and cryptozoology. This is the legend of Sinkhole Sam. I know what you're thinking. A lake monster in Kansas? What do they think they are? Scotland? Now let me set the stage for you. Picture this. It's Kansas, and it's the early 1900s. It wasn't all wheat fields and sunflowers back then. A network of freshwater lakes and streams crisscrossed across the state, creating a paradise for wildlife and a playground for anglers and hunters. But, as with many things in life, change was coming, and it was coming fast. By the 1920s, the landscape began to transform. Farmers and developers eager to make use of every inch of land started draining lakes and wetlands. It was like watching a giant bathtub slowly empty, leaving behind only a few puddles here and there. One of these puddles was Lake Inman, which, believe it or not, is now the largest natural lake in Kansas. But our story doesn't focus on Lake Inman itself. No. We're more interested in what locals call the Big Sinkhole. The first sighting was in 1952. The year was 1952. Eisenhower was about to become president. I Love Lucy was the hottest show on TV. And in Inman, Kansas, two fishermen were about to have an encounter that would put their little town on the map. Picture this. Two guys, probably hoping for nothing more exciting than a good catch and a cold beer, are out fishing at the Big Sinkhole. Suddenly, the water starts to churn. Something breaks the surface, but it's not a fish, it's not a log, we're not really quite sure what it is. Now, according to the breathless accounts, what they saw was a creature around 15 feet long and about as thick around as a car tire. It had a flat head and a long undulating body that moved through the water with an eerie grace. Now, the second sighting happened the very next year in 1953. Again, two local men named Albert Neufeld and George Rager had their own close encounter with what they believed to be the same creature. Neufeld, apparently not one to simply gawk at a potential monster, decided to take matters into his own hands. He grabbed his rifle and took a couple shots at it. Now, I don't know about the hunting licenses back then, but I'm pretty sure hunting a cryptid creature, probably not on the yes you can list. But luckily for Sam, and probably luckily for Neufeld, depending on how you look at it, all of his shots missed. So the creature dove back into the depths of the water, leaving behind nothing but ripples and a whole lot of questions. Words of these sightings spread faster than gossip at a church picnic. Before long, the creature had a nickname, Sinkhole Sam. Why Sam? Well, why not? It kind of goes with the S of sinkhole. So, Sinkhole Sam. And if he's a snake of some kind, Sinkhole Sam the snake. There you go. It keeps going. But this is where our story takes a turn from a realm of local legend into something a bit more colorful. Enter Ernest Alva Dewey, a newspaper columnist with a flair for the dramatic and a tongue planted firmly in his cheek. Dewey, who had previously attributed UFO sightings to a mythical Kansas dragon called the ball-tailed Snicklehoopus, decided to investigate the phenomenon of Sinkhole Sam. In a move that would make modern-day satirists proud, DeWay brought along a scientific expert, the entirely fictional Dr. Erasmus Quattlebaum. Together, they determined that Sam was actually a Fuppengarkle, a creature so extinct it didn't even know it was supposed to be dead. According to DeWay's hilarious report, the Fuppengarkle was a subterranean dweller that occasionally popped up for air and a bit of sightseeing. He assured the good people of Inman that Sam was harmless, probably vegetarian, and definitely not bright enough to cause any real trouble. Now, you might think that such an obviously tongue-in-cheek report would put an end to the whole Sinkhole Sam hysteria, but if there's one thing I've learned about human nature, it's that we all love a good mystery, even when it's served with a side of absurdity. Instead of debunking the legend, DeWay's satirical take only fueled the fire. People latched onto the term Fuppengarkle. It became part of the local lexicon, a word that simultaneously poked fun at a legend and cemented its place in Kansas folklore. As news of Sinkhole Sam spread beyond the borders of Kansas, the media frenzy picked it up into high gear. Newspapers from coast to coast picked up the story, each adding their own little spin on the tale. Suddenly, Sam wasn't just a local curiosity, he was America's newest celebrity. Reporters flocked to Inman hoping to catch a glimpse of the elusive creature. They interviewed locals, staked out the sinkhole, and wrote breathless accounts of every ripple and every splash. Sam was compared to the Loch Ness Monster, turning the small Kansas town into an unlikely tourist destination. And boy did the tourists come. Cars lined up around the big sinkhole, filled with hopeful monster spotters. Local residents still remember seeing hundreds of vehicles parked along the road, their occupants armed with binoculars and cameras, ready to capture proof of Sam's existence. The influx of visitors was a mixed blessing for Inman. On one hand, it put the town on the map and brought in some much-needed tourist dollars. On the other hand, well, have you ever tried to go about your daily business with a bunch of monster hunters camped out in your backyard? But here's where the story takes another twist. Despite all of the attention, despite all the eyes trained on the water sightings of Sinkhole Sam began to dwindle. By the late 1950s, reports had become fewer and fewer between. It was as if Sam is a camera-shy creature. The decline in sightings led to all sorts of speculation. Some folks theorized that Sam had simply gone back into the underground lair that he must live in, tired of all the fuss. Others more grimly suggested that the changing environment, the draining of the wetlands, and the alteration of the landscape might have spelled doom for the aquatic creature. But just when it seemed like Sinkhole Sam might fade into obscurity, the legend found new life in an unexpected place. About 50 miles south of Inman, near Kingman State Lake. Reports began to surface of a similar creature. This new beast was described as a massive snake. Now, Kingman State Lake isn't a naturally formed lake like the big Sinkhole Sam is used to. It's a man-made lake, created from a marsh next to the Neneska River. But that didn't stop people from drawing connections between the new creature and good old Sam. In the late 1960s, the sighting at Kingman State Lake reached such a fever pitch that a full-blown monster hunt was organized. Picture it, dozens of determined Kansans trudging through marshland hoping to catch a glimpse of a giant snake. It's like a Midwestern version of Jaws. But despite their best effort, the monster hunters came up empty-handed. They found plenty of native snake species, but nothing that matched the description of the Kingman Lake monster. This creature, like Sam before it, seemed to have a knack for avoiding attention. The Kingman sightings reignited interest in Sinkhole Sam. People began to wonder, Could these be the same creatures? Had Sam somehow found a way to travel between the two bodies of water, or was Kansas home to not one, but two mysterious aquatic beasts? These questions led to a flurry of theories about the true nature of Sinkhole Sam and his possible Kingman cousin. Some of these theories were grounded in scientific possibility, while others, well, let's just say they require a healthy dose of imagination. Now, the plausible theories are a remnant of a prehistoric species surviving in underground caverns, a case of mistaken identity involving large non-native snakes, I doubt that, a type of giant amphibian similar to the Caecilian, and the more creative explanations that might use a bit of imagination, a government experiment gone wrong, a visitor from another dimension, or, the silliest of all in my opinion, a very lost and very confused submarine. But regardless of theories, one thing remained constant: people's fascination with the idea of Sinkhole Sam. The legend tapped into something primal in the human psyche: our love of mystery, our fascination with the unknown, and our hope that there might still be wonders in the world yet to be discovered. Local businesses in Inman have embraced the legend, using Sam's image to attract tourists and sell merchandise. But the impact of Sinkhole Sam goes beyond mere tourist dollars or pop culture references. The legend has become a part of Inman's identity, a quirky piece of history that sets this small Kansas town apart from others. It's a reminder of a time when the landscape was different, when lakes and wetlands dominated the area, and when the possibility of an unknown creature lurking in the depths didn't seem so far-fetched. The story of Sinkhole Sam also serves as a testament to the power of storytelling. It shows how a simple sighting, whether real or imagined, can take on a life of its own, growing and evolving as it passes from person to person. It's a reminder that in an age of instant information and scientific explanations, there's still room for mystery and wonder in the world. So the next time you find yourself driving through good old Kansas, maybe take a detour to Inman. Stop by the big sinkhole and gaze out over its murky waters. And who knows, maybe if you're very quiet and you're very patient, you might catch a glimpse of something moving just below the surface. After all, in a world full of wonders, who is to say that Sinkhole Sam isn't still out there? Thank you so much for watching this episode on cryptids. Feel free to subscribe, I do appreciate it, and leave a comment of a cryptid you want me to go over next. Bye!